Hello everybody, and welcome to another video on Planetside 2's level design. I'm Roy Awesome. I have done a video like this before on Amerish, on Esamir and Indar, but today I'm doing it on the new Amerish. Amerish, if you guys don't know, got completely changed on the test server. And it has the lattice and all of the fun things to go with the new Battleflow improvements. So I'm going to take some time, and I'm going to make this video about the changes that were made in Planetside 2 for the Amerish continent. My apologies on the first bit on the fact that there's shitty microphone quality. I tried to do this, or tried to fix it over and over and over again, but it wasn't able to. I couldn't find a solution to it. So it sounds like there's a fan in my background. So I'm going to start today with looking at the new Jagged Lands mine. Now, the map screen here hasn't changed too much since they haven't redone the mini-map, but I'm going to go through all of these bases one at a time. Some of them are done, some of them are not. So I will be skipping a few of these bases just because I don't know what they are. I hope to do every single base, and I hope to spend a little bit of time talking about each base, but there are a lot of bases on this map, so this video might be pretty long. So, we're going to start with Jagged Lands Mine. Now, Jagged Lands Mine is actually relatively unchanged in the new Amerish. They actually they changed some of the attack paths into the base, and they changed some of the spawn room stuff. And that's pretty much all they did. As you can see on the mini-map here, you can see that the mini-map is actually very similar to, like, there's a building here. It's on the mini-map. This mini-map is from the original Amerish that is on the live server right now. So these walls are new, but this building is not. So it's an easy way to tell what has changed. SOE seems to be doing some really interesting changes that I actually like a lot. With spawn rooms to help mitigate the camping, and one of them is the addition of these teleporters. Now these showed up they're in a couple of bases on Indar, but they're mostly on Esamir, and so now on Amerish all the bases have them. This one in particular takes you across the building here, the other side, where you can easily access the ramp across and take the bridge. Now, if you just saw that, there was a really cool little tunnel thing that they had going on there, which I really like that. While this base hasn't changed too much, and I actually really like the fact that this base hasn't changed too much, what I did like most about this base after analyzing it and walking around it is the fact that they took a lot more time looking at alternate attack paths and sunder replacements. So over here we have a clear sunder replacement. As you can tell, there's the road into the base right here, and this looks like a place to fit a sunder. And it seems pretty simple. Just drive your sunder up here, deploy it. There is an attack path up the route over here that, as you can see on the mini-map, it's not actually there on the mini-map, so this is definitely new. It takes you up some stairs, which puts you above the capture point, which is really nice. You can fire down on the capture point, stuff like that. There's another attack path that takes you under these little tiny rocks, which, after watching some of the level design streams, I actually appreciate the fact that they're using these rocks. These rocks are actually scaled up elsewhere on the continent, which is kind of fun. They also tweaked the inside of this capture point, and they added this little tiny wall thing. The walls so there are walls on Esamir, but the walls are not used, they're all walls on Amerish, but they're not used the same as the walls on Esamir. So you can see, these are the same type of walls that are on Esamir that surround the bases, but they're used differently on this continent. So for example, there's this little hexagon thing that is really, really cool. And I think that'll really help protect the base, an outdoor capture point, as you can, like, sneak around here. It's a great cover. You can hide around it and cover different attack paths. So I really like this. I think that more bases need this little tiny, especially outdoor bases. Base that springs to mind off the top of my head is TI Alloys. TI Alloys would do really well to have this object on, like, around its capture point. So, again, this is the same type of base that we had before, and a couple prefab buildings. There's a Sunder garage here, but I do not like the Sunder garage because of the wall here. As you saw, that the other Sunder base had a wall that had a path that went straight up above the capture point. This one, you cannot get up on top of this ridge line here without... I think you might be able to get up over here. No. Without jumping. So, the fact that you can't actually climb up here, or you can get up here, is detrimental to the attackers that use the Sunder Garage, because that just means the defenders will be able to stand up here and fire down into the pit where the Sunder deploys, preventing you from leaving that, and just basically enabling spawn camping. Of course, you can get up right over here. This is the path that you're intended to use, as you can tell, because it uses the road texture. And then, of course, you could also deploy your Sunder under the bridge. I think that you could mitigate this. To mitigate this, you either need to add a path up over here to allow the attackers to climb up on top of this ridge line, or extend these rocks over it so there's some kind of cover over the Sunder, so that way you can't just shoot down into the Sunder Bay. But other than that, I like the natural Sunder Bays. It's a very, very large improvement over the really unnatural Sunder Bays that are on Esamir. And if you don't know what those Sunder Bays are, those are the big garages that you can park Sunders in. And of course, this base is a pretty simple base. So, while I was setting up for this video, my scythe despawned. Normally I fly scythes around these maps and get an idea of what's happening. They removed the base behind the warp gate, thank God. I hate it. I hate bases behind warp gates. So this base that was up here is now poof, it's gone. Can't fly up there. You go out of bounds doing that. So we're gonna swing back by the warp gate so I can get a new aircraft. And I'll do an overview of the base so you can get an idea of what it looks like. So again, this is Jagged Lance Mine. It's right on the north side of the map. I don't know. I like it. I feel like spawn camping wise, this base actually, despite it not having any walls around the spawn room, unlike Esamir, this base is very... It's not easy to spawn camp this base, mostly because there's these hills. The natural terrain around this does not support good spawn camping. It's hard to line up a bunch of prowlers along this ridge line over here to fire in on the spawn room. And if you do, you're not going to be very effective. That being said, due to its proximity to the warp gate, which is right there, I don't think that this is going to have a lot of fights, which is kind of sad. Because this is, I think, one of the best... There seems to be 3 tiers of design, or 3 ages of design, and this seems to be the oldest of the style. Bunch of buildings spread out with not a lot of cover, and it seems to be the best designed of that style. So it's kind of sad that it's not going to see that many fights, but it is what it is. So moving on over here, we have the new North Grove post. Or no, this is not. This is Hidden Ridge Mining. Hidden Ridge Mining is a base that is multi-layered. This base was really cool. I think Arclegger was the one who did this. He said that he was adding walls and everybody freaked out. And then he posted it, and people stopped freaking out because the walls were well done. And this is a really good example of how to do walls. And Esamir is a bad example of how to do walls. I actually said Esamir was a bad example of how to do walls in my Esamir video, and it still went live, which is unfortunate. So, it's got these big stairs. If you complain about bases not having stairs, this is your fix. You shouldn't be like a junkie getting your fix on this base. There's a ton of stairs here. And it actually is a multi-layered base. So, here we have the top. It's a big open courtyard. Again, you park your Sunder. I would not, if I were attacking this base, I'd park my Sunder here or there. I would not park it here, even though there's more cover. The reason is it's cover while good. Travel time from underneath one of these staircases to the staircase is less advantageous than just parking your Sunder in front of the staircase. So I would probably park it at the bottom of the staircase, or on the staircase, actually. I actually haven't seen the no-deploy zone around this base, so it might not be possible to park it on these staircases, but I'd totally deploy my Sunder on these staircases. So, it's got a wall. You can't really get in on the walls. You have to climb up these stairs. There's other stairs around this base, and there's other entrances, so that isn't the only entrance. Fear not. As you can see, the mini-map, not updated yet. So, it's a multi-tiered base with multiple levels. It has a lot of elevators to get up and around. I'm going to show off the top before I go to the bottom, because the bottom is important. So it's very open. I actually fear a lot of hover camping or hover potting for like mosquitoes and stuff. ESFs hover potting the base because it feels really open to the air, and I don't know how best to solve that because there is an entire underground portion. So maybe it's just because they have an underground portion, you might as well have the upper part here that's not covered. So that way, at least aircraft have a chance to interact with the ground battle. But I don't like it. I think there should be more air cover. Here's another. That's way down. So that's the top. There's a base inside here. Now there's a teleporter. Now the teleporter in here is actually different than most other teleporters. It actually takes you, if you saw earlier, it takes you up here, which is the inside of this base. And now if you want to know where it is in relation to the spawn room, there's the spawn room. Here's the teleporter. Now, this is something I've noticed at a lot of other bases. I like the fact that this teleporter is strictly not campable from vehicles or air. I like that. What I don't like about it is the fact that it's so close to the spawn room. And it'll probably be a recurring theme on things I don't like about bases, is the fact that there's the spawn room, there's the teleporter. Spawn room, teleporter. To get an idea of how far away this is, I will put a point on there, and I will walk in here. And thus you have a 15-meter teleport, as you can see by the waypoint. So, while this teleporter is obviously uncampable, because, well, infantry can get in here and camp it, vehicles and aircraft are going to have a very hard time camping this. It just seems like, why don't you just put your spawn room right here instead of having it there, and then have a teleporter somewhere else? So, I don't know. I would like to see more the teleporters further out. And I'm going to go refresh my scythe, that way I don't get stuck here. And then I'm going to explore the bottom. Also, they re-added the hackable infantry terminals to these bases. So, infiltrators rejoice, you now have a job to do inside of bases. Hack the infantry terminals. That was something they removed from during one of the performance updates, and people complained enough that they re-added them. So, thank you, SOE, for re-adding those. I really appreciate having more hackable stuff. So now let's go down below, because I think it's really important to show the below on these bases, because this below area is actually really, really cool. So we're going to go down below. Now, this is a mining facility, so there's a lot of mining stuff. Now, here's the capture point. A little bit of water here. I'd like to point out to whoever designed this base that water tends to flow to the bottom of an object. So the fact that you have a deeper depression here than you do up here means the water will naturally flow to that location. So this is really, really, really awkward. The fact that this is actually on top of a hill and not on the bottom of a hill. It actually shows this little feature, the water feature here, where there's water on top of a hill, shows up from time to time, and it really, really bugs me out that the fact that there's water on top of a hill. So, point is inside the room. There's plenty of cover. There's a couple of entrances. So I really like the idea of this place. And the cave system is pretty difficult to follow if you're just first learning. But all in all, that's a first learning problem. Here's another really awesome Sunder garage, by the way. You can park your Sunder right here and get right into the cave system. This right here is the rock crusher thing. So you can actually get in here, park your Sunder there. You don't have a lot of cover from above, so anybody above you can just, especially right here, you can use these lifts to get up and then jump off here. Just kill any Sunder that's there. So this is not be a good ideal Sunder location. And of course, this is the way you get in from the spawn area. So this is how you get into the base. And again, you can just like walk around and see what's going on here. One thing I don't like about this base is how far away the vehicle terminal is from the spawn room. It's actually kind of difficult to get to the vehicle terminal unless you fully secure the base. It's also very easy for the attackers to hack out Sunders. So I think that the vehicle terminal should be more protectable by the defenders, because right now it's not very protectable. The attackers will just come right in, hack the vehicle terminal, and start pooping out Sunders faster than anybody can react to them. So let me give you an oversight of the entire base. Again, that there is a path down to it, as you can see right there. There's a path down towards the vehicle terminal, but I still think that because the vehicle terminal is out on its own next to the road, that you're just going to get surrounded and killed there. So this is a great use of walls. So whoever designed this base did a really good job. The only issue I have is with the teleporter. Let's move on to the next one. This is Sungrey Plaza. It has been completely retooled, as you can see. Let me give a good hover over. It is very difficult to actually get into this base on the ground with tanks. So this is kind of like the walls, but more natural. And I had an issue with this on my Esamir video about how it seems like there's a lot of really natural rock formations that just appear and are just very convenient for defending your base. So it seems on Amerish they've taken a really good step in the right direction to make it look a little more natural and look like the base is a little bit more built into the rock side and stuff like that. But there's still issues where it seems like, oh, hey, this is a convenient rock formation here that just happily blocks an entire area of avenue of attack. So this base is pretty cool. I haven't actually explored it all too much. It has a great underground feature, and it looks really good with the God Rays. Just throwing it out there. If you don't run your game on max on New Amerish, you're really missing out. I know some people can't do that, but it looks good. I really like these infantry bridges from across the way. Your Sunder garages, I call them Sunder garages, but they're not necessarily garages in Amerish. They're more like Sunder bays. Oh, this seems useless. What's the point of this? How are you supposed to get up here? Sometimes I come up to issues like this, where it's like, this serves no function or purpose. Here's another one. I guess this one has a route up, so you can climb this, maybe? Nope. Yeah, so these bridges actually serve no purpose, and they need to level this out. That's what we bug fix. I'm going to report that after this video is done. So, I feel like... Okay, that actually strikes me as unfinished. So, this might actually be an unfinished base. I haven't seen this base before. So, if they put Sunder garages on here, this would be a really cool attack path. If you put your Sunder garages over here. And I say Sunder garages, but I actually mean Sunder, like, places where Sunders stop and can deploy. Easy places for them to deploy. If you put them over there, it would be really awesome to fight across those bridges. And there's a Heyoka chemical plant does this. It's really cool. So, this base strikes me as a play... Like, here's an entrance. This is actually the first entrance from the ground I found to this base. I suspect that this base is not finished. So, this base is pretty cool. It integrates the rock formation. This spawn room is going to be campable from infantry pretty easily, just because there's no real cover, and there's no real... That's bugged. Yeah, this base is unfinished. There's no real cover, and it just kind of... The spawn room's just kind of sitting here. There's also no teleporter. I guess the teleporter room's over here. Okay, this is okay. This teleporter distance, this is a perfect teleporter distance. This is a well thought out teleporter room placement. It is in a great spot for defending the entrances. Like, here's a bridge entrance, which you can then set up here. It's got a great spot overlooking the actual spawn room, so you can spawn up, take the teleporter to this and overlook the spawn room. And you can clear out spawn campers from up here, because it gives you a different angle of attack on the people camping the spawn room. Basically, it gives more surface area for the defenders to drive off spawn campers, and that's what is needed from these teleporters. So this is a great teleporter location. I like it a lot. So this base, again, first time looking at this base. It needs more attack paths up. I only found one so far. One obvious attack path up. You're going to need a lot of light assault to take this base if you want to take it, or galaxy spawns. But who knows? Galaxy spawns may come into play. So again, I'm going to give an overview of this one. I don't actually see any other places for you to attack up. So I suspect that this side of the map is intended to be an attack path, but you cannot get up from there. So before you launch, oh, there's an attack path up right there. That's cool. I like that one. But it's going to be easily destroyed by people on that bridge, right out across from it. People on this bridge right here are going to easily destroy it. Any Sunderer that parks over there. As well as any Sunderer that parks it from an... If the attacker does not hold Sungrey, it's going to be easily destroyed as well. So more attack paths up for this one. Otherwise, cool base. There are no real changes to amp stations, although this one seems to be getting the Zervin treatment. Yep. This is the same as the Zervin amp station. And Freyr, the new amp station design. This base over here is a work in progress. I know for a fact that this one is a work in progress by Malorn. So, Sungrey Power Hub. This is it, right? Yeah, this is the new Sungrey base that Malorn was working on. Malorn originally decided or wanted to make this a base where you can, like a destroyed husk of an amp station, but now it's something else. So let's analyze this base too, since it's brand new. I haven't seen this one yet. This just got added in the test patch today, so this one is brand new. I like Malorn's bases. Malorn's bases are generally well thought out on the teleporter placement and spawn camping, as well as where Sunderers can attack from. They have very good attack paths. So, this base is a great... It's kind of a ridiculous underground portion. Anyway, so this this object that I'm walking on right now is the area, the building in the virtual reality room that you can walk, the big building that you spawn in on. Okay, I like these anti-aircraft turrets. So the teleporter is down here. The very difficult to hack vehicle terminal. That's good. Probably the vehicle spawn right below it. So that vehicle terminal is going to be difficult to hack because the teleporter room overwatches it. So even if you do get a hack off on it, they're probably going to easily take it back because you can just spawn in as an infiltrator and take it back. That's not a bad thing. It's just a thing. Here's an attack path up. Ooh. I like the lighting. I like how the lighting highlights this this Sunder garage, but I feel like since the vehicle terminal's right there and the teleporter room is right there, you'll have defenders that are easily able to shoot this. Unless you can park a Sunder right here, and the Sunder is fully encompassed by this corner. In which case I think you'll be fine. I like how I missed that. I like how the light highlights the attack path up. Because there's a lot of lighting here, it's very obvious at nighttime where you can move into the base from. I like how well lit this base is. Indar has a huge problem with badly lit bases. So, I like how well lit it is. And it seems to be pretty defensible from tank attacks and stuff like that. The spawn room is elevated, so you cannot shoot at it with a tank. I thought that was a staircase down. Because the spawn room is in the back, it's elevated above the area. The tank, because you're going to have a lot of stuff, like a lot of vehicle paths under this base, since this base is elevated. Getting vehicles spread out around. There's a lot of vehicle cover for defenders and attackers. So I don't think there will be a lot of chances for the vehicles to spawn camp this spawn room. And it's in a, frankly, horrible spot to be spawn camped from. I have yet to find another path up, which I think will be an issue. Not having a secondary way up on top of this base is an issue. Yeah, I don't see another way up. Appears to be a Reaver flying overhead. I wonder if they have like a teleporter or something. I'm gonna go reset my... So, there's another person here. I don't see another path up. Apparently, this guy's saying that Iron V detects cloaked infiltrators. I'm not entirely sure if that's true. So I don't see another path into this base, which I think is an issue. If that's the only way up, then that'll be easily defended by the defenders. Like, and there's a lot of... Oh, I think this is a way up over here. Because this building extends beyond, and it's all lit. Yep, it's well lit here. And yeah, it's a way up. Okay. So there's 2 paths up. I think it needs a 3rd path up. I think there needs to be a 3rd path up, maybe underneath. I would use one of the pieces, like the elevator pieces, that go through the floor of one of these buildings. So that way you can deploy a sunder in the catacombs beneath this base, and then lift yourself into the base. I think that'd be really cool and something that hasn't been tried before. So it'd be interesting because that sunder would be very difficult to get at, but would be very susceptible to a vehicle attack because vehicles would be able to get into this underground very, very, very easily. So it's cool to see that they're doing a lot more underground features like that. I mean, it's not really underground, it's more of an elevated base. So, and moving on. So this was Sungrey Power Hub. I'm going to give one last overview of the entire base. You can see it's a lifted base with a lot of buildings. Moving over to the new Sungrey West Gate. So, Sungrey West Gate. Sungrey West Gate is bugged, apparently. Okay. Well, let's view this as intended and pretend that that doesn't happen. Okay, so Sungrey West Gate. Sungrey West Gate was freaking awesome. Sungrey West Gate was probably the only underground feature in the entire game. I think I understand what they did wrong here. Was the only underground feature in the game, and it was really cool. So we have a Sunder Garage here. By the way, this is also new in this build. I haven't seen this base before. And this is going to be a cool base. Be still my beating heart. So, this base has a lot of underground catacombs and a lot of underground features. This is a very Planetside 1 style base. In case you guys... Wow. Okay. So let's start from the top and work our way down. What do you guys say? Because this is going to be a very difficult base to explore. So, top, we have a building here at the top of the base. Point A, single point. As you saw, there was a path up that led to a very cool underground fighting arena. Very reminiscent of Planetside 1. The spawn room is somewhere. I have no idea where the spawn room is. We'll have to find that. So, lots of stairs, lots of paths around. This base is very, very, very reminiscent of Planetside 1 with how much underground features it has. It has a lot of attack paths into the base. Like, you can come up along these rocks. I like the fact that you can come up along those rocks. There's somebody following me around. So here appears to be the spawn room, and the teleporter takes you into the underground portion. Okay, this is awesome. So, this allows you to defend from multiple directions. Like, defend this base from multiple directions, because you now can get into this underground portion of the map that allows you to fight the stream of attackers from 2 different angles. You can strike down from the top or strike up from the bottom, which is very useful. I think if you're trying to defend the point, striking up from the, or down from the top is more important than striking up from the bottom. Yeah, okay. And then you walk, so that's the underground portion, and then you walk up here. This is cool. So yeah, big arena map. Big arena map. I like it. So I'm not going to be able to explore and analyze this entire base, just simply because it's so huge and there's so much going on here. But basic overview, A+ on the design here. Fix those walls because they're invisible. But definitely A+ on the design of this base. I love the inside. Okay, that's the arrival from there. Go to Esabir if you like walls, Amerish if you like ceilings. Thank you, ASDF, FSDA 35. Now I gotta find my scythe. Okay, so, verdict on this base. Second coolest base on Amerish. I know what the coolest base on Amerish is, and I will tell you what it is. However, SOE, you do need to fix this. This can be fixed. So yeah, Sungrey West Gate, A+. A+ base. I would like to see a shield in the West Gate, though, underneath it, that prevents vehicles from just driving through, and it's tied to a generator inside this base. That way, if you're attacking from the outside, or depending on the direction of your attack, you're forced to go into this base and fight through this base before just, driving right past it and spawn camping. But since this base has a teleporter that is strictly unspawn campable, well, it is spawn campable, but it's very difficult to spawn camp. It's very good. So, anyway, next base. This is the new NC Arsenal. I actually had a discussion with Comrade Virchinov about this base. Comrade Virchinov being the leader of Goku, Earth Special Forces on VS on Matherson. And he said that this base was a Sunder death trap. And I can't help but agree with him. This base, I really like... So, the way this base is structured, and let me get an overview of it, because this room requires an overview to understand what's going on in this base. This base has 3 points, A, B, and C. The 3 points are in these very large... They added a new prefab building type, and it's a big garage that they're using a lot now. Like, it's a very commonly used prop in a new Amerish. In fact, it was actually the prop that most of the inside of that last base was designed in. So it's big, it's open, it's big, it's empty, and it's open, and it has a lot of paths up and down. So you can go down, you can go up, you can stack these on top of each other, you can have them stand alone. They're pretty useful. But it also features a big pit right here, and I actually was intentionally trying to hide that. And this big pit is very much a death trap. Now, you can actually drive into this pit by driving, there's a underground tunnel. So as you can see, there's a plaza that comes out over here to the road, and you can actually drive right there underneath into that pit. And I feel like that is just going to... So when you say this is a Sunder death trap, you either park your Sunder right inside that tunnel, which is attacked, since if you notice the vehicle spawn point was there. And I'm going to actually need to pull a Sunder to show you this. But you can park your Sunder right here, but this tunnel is their vehicle spawn, and I believe they have a tank spawn here. So, sure, this works as a Sunder garage. You can drive all the way through and into there, but that's a pit that the people can just shoot down inside of. And then, also, you can park it here, but they're going to spawn vehicles and clear you out of this tunnel. So I'm not entirely sure what to think that this is the primary method of attack. Is their vehicle spawn point that's really hard to get to from the attacker's point of view. I feel like this base needs a couple other attack points. Otherwise, this base will be a Sunder death trap. Now, of course, you can also park your Sunders in other places. I think this is a more relevant position if you're coming up from Sungrey. And the more relevant position from coming up from Ickenham is right here. It's actually a much better position to park your Sunder. There's not a lot of Sunder cover. I mean, there's a garage right there, but there's not a lot of cover. This base is truly a Sunder death trap. It has a really cool pit that you can fight in, but I don't think anybody's ever going to go down to that pit unless they fell in accidentally. The teleporter, or the spawn room is up here, and it's next to a really cool little lake. And unlike the other lakes that were developed, this one actually is at the bottom of the terrain and doesn't have a place where it can obviously flow down into. So it's a nice little water feature that actually really works. I wish they would have better water textures or water like volumes, but this is a cool water feature. And then they have the teleporter up here, but I feel like this teleporter actually, so it serves to increase the surface area of attacking or of spawn camping, or to prevent the surface area of spawn camping. But it serves no purpose on providing the defenders a different avenue of like being able to move places, because the spawners, the defending spawners, have to come to these staircases. They must come to these staircases to get to the rest of the base. So, yeah, if you walk up if the attackers walk up this staircase and try to spawn camp you on top of the spawn room, sure, the defenders can stop that. Or the defenders can just stand on the bottom of these stairs to stop you from climbing down the stairs. So I'm not entirely sure how best this is going to work. This base is freaking huge, though, and I don't feel like the defenders will be able to the attackers will be able to reliably hold all 3 points and spawn camp just because of the astronomical size of this base. I like it, though. This base is very large, very nice. Rest in peace, Old NC Arsenal. You will be surely missed. You were right there. You were replaced by a rock. A big, big rock. Well, let's move on to the next base. So, if you remember from the Old NC Arsenal, you came down to North Grove Post. This used to be North Grove Post. This is now Lithcorp Fortress. I think this is the worst designed base on the map. It uses walls. So, let's start with the first thing. And that, I don't normally say it's the worst. I don't normally call bases worst designed bases on the map, but I think this one is truly the worst designed bases on the map. So first of all, look at this big open area for attacking. Now, of course, the attackers will have a bunch of tanks. The defenders will have a bunch of rockets on that wall. So that's just a flat-out farm for anybody trying to attack it. If anybody remembers Quartridge Camp versus Indoor Excavation, this will be that, but worse. Secondly, the vehicle shield generators. If you have a vehicle shield generator, why do you put it outside the wall? Just defending a base 101. Put your vulnerable... It's like in Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, when the shield generator is not inside the base. It makes no sense. Put your shield generator inside your base. It has these really long wall... they have some cover, but these tunnels are just going to be death traps for people inside. Because I can just sit here with a Scat Max or a Lasher or something like that and just stop people from moving inside this tunnel. So the tunnels are going to be a no-go for attack. However, they're very quickly, as soon as you get through the tunnels, if you manage to secure the tunnel entrances, you can get on these walls pretty quickly and clear them off. Once you clear the defenders off these walls, it'll be very difficult for the defenders to actually hold this base, because the walls are very important for the defense of this base. And so yeah, I mean, the walls don't offer the best attack like range, but So next we have these wonderful little features. So I feel like you could, if you blow up the shield generators, which wouldn't be too hard because they're outside the freaking base, you could pull a Sunderer up here pretty easily and park it in this area once you clear out the walls. Rendering the walls completely useless if your shield generator is outside. Once you're inside this base, there's actually a really cool underground feature. A couple of underground features here. Maybe. I might be misremembering this base. Nope, no underground features. Okay. There's a really cool upper ground fortress area that I think would be... oh, hey, okay, these jump pads are new since I analyzed this base last, so it is possible for the defenders to get back on the... Okay. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure, like, how that's going to work, but those jump pads are new. So, anyway, so the inside of this base, once you're actually in the base, there's a lot of cover, and it's a very large area. And that's a good thing for the attackers, and a bad thing for the defenders normally. But because the attack paths for the attackers generally run you on the ground here, and not on the rooftops, it's gonna be a shooting gallery for whoever holds these rooftops. Whoever has point A and whoever has the point rooftops. If there are different teams, it will be a shooting gallery, and that's not necessarily the best thing, but it's a thing. Some bases in Indar that I really like have this feature, so I'm not too worried about it. The next, and I think the most important thing, is where the teleporter rooms and the spawn rooms are. Now, those should be faction specific. There should not be. So, this is the teleporter room. Or no, this is a spawn room. Sorry, this is a spawn room, and it has a teleporter. The teleporter for that room, by the way, there's a vehicle terminal right there. The teleporter for this spawn room is on the physically opposite side of the base. Now, I like bases that have the teleporter rooms that are actually very, very useful, but this is a little over useful for the defenders. I feel like the defenders have a supreme advantage, given the fact that this base is really long, and there's the other side of the base, the teleporter room. So because the defenders can spawn in and come in on both sides of the base, you're going to really need to surround this base or outpop this base quite a bit in order to to be able to reliably take this base. Because the truth is, you farm your defense once you capture the point. The attackers have to defend the point once they capture it, and they do that by setting up a spawn camp on the. They do that by setting up a spawn camp for the defenders. So, because you can't reliably set up a spawn camp, and people will argue that this is a great thing that you cannot reliably set up a spawn camp, but because of that, it's going to be very easy for the defenders to retake the point once the attackers have it. Because it's like, you spawn a bunch of people, you do a big push out of the right spawn room, they all react, all the defenders react, they go over there, and then you immediately respawn and come in from the left spawn point and just kill them while their backs are turned. And I'm not entirely sure that that's a good thing. I don't like these AV turrets. I think you can replace them with anti-infantry turrets. AV turrets are really strong. They're easily hackable, so it's great to have a hackable object, but if you replace these with like anti-aircraft turrets or anti-infantry turrets, that'll be better. The anti-vehicle turrets are incredibly strong, and I don't think that you should have those set up in an infantry-centric area. AV turrets are way, way, way too strong for that to be even reasonable. And then I believe they have anti-aircraft turrets on the top here. Yeah, they do. There's anti-aircraft turrets on the top of this base. There's also anti-aircraft turrets spread out. I think they were on other places, but they might have removed them. It looks like they removed them. Yeah, so please change those from anti-vehicle turrets to anti-infantry turrets. Because they're this will be, having an anti-vehicle turret looking over the spot camp, it's going to be free points for whoever runs that. And you have another one over here. So, it's just way, way, way too strong. So yeah, my advice for this base is put the generators right inside of the shield. Like, literally right inside of the shield. Put the generator right here. Inside the shield. And you don't even have to expose it. Like, you don't even have to put it inside the little building. Put it literally right next to the shield on the inside. So that way you at least have to force them to attack the walls and try to get past the shield here in order to get the generators. And not just, walk up to the generator and blow it up, where the defenders can't really do anything about it. So that's my verdict on this base. I think it's the worst design base. It's still a cool base. Like, when I say that this is the worst design base, I feel like it's better than every base on Esamir and Indar combined, but it's still the worst on New Amerish. And that's really setting the high bar for New Amerish, because New Amerish has really cool bases. My scythe exploded, or disappeared, so I got to suicide and go to a new one, but after I do that, I'm going to give you guys another aerial overview of this base, so you can see how it is. Sungrey Amp Station has a vehicle spawn point. So again, Sungrey Amp Station is the new Amp Station style. I want to make a video dedicated solely to the new Amp Station style, because I actually really, really, really like the new Amp Station style. I think most people hate it. They think it's the worst. And I don't understand why they could think that way, because it really increases the amount of infantry combat. But I will make a video dedicated to why I think the new Amp Station style is the way to go, but detail the changes I think that need to be made, because there are changes that need to be made to this Amp Station for it to make it more viable. So let's fly over another view of the NC Arsenal. It's a cool base. I really like. A lot of these bases are really well thought out, but they need to be better. This base also has a severe case of convenient placed rock formation right there. So yeah, aerial view of this base. It's basically a mirror. It's pretty cool, but still I think it's the worst designed base. So let's go to the new North Grove Post. North Grove Post in the old Amerish was not a grove, nor was it a post. It was a bunch of buildings sitting out there and not relevant. If you notice on the mini-map, something interesting. I'm standing in the water. They've actually really expanded the terrain size of Amerish, so that's a thing. We're actually closer to the edge of the map, and you can see the water over here. I really like that. So North Grove Post is a very beautiful base. These trees are actually new. They're never before seen in any continent in Planetside 2. These are the tech test trees for the tech demo that they displayed at GDC last year. It's pretty cool. Fun fact. That's why they look different. This base is very wide and open, and I think it'll be very easy. This will be a very vehicle-centric fight, just because of how wide and open it is. There are trees everywhere, which gives a lot of squirrely places for lightnings to hide. Again, depression here, river, and then it raises up. The river would actually naturally flow down here. So please, understand geology, please. Anyway, my immersion. So, this base is a lot of small buildings spread out around that are generally, I don't know. This is new. I have never seen this before. What is this? Can I walk through this? No. Okay, so here's the spawn room. Spawn room is outside the base, but again, this one's really hard because it's actually outside the map. It's actually outside the map. So I can't get a firm idea of what's going on in this base, but it appears that this is actually outside the spawn room's outside the base. With a teleporter inside the base. How does this base work? This has changed since I last saw it. So that shield is very unpassable. So I don't know. I feel like you could have a really cool tank fight in here, and I feel like a tank and infantry, like two large infantry zergs moving through here would be cool, but a tank and infantry zerg moving through here would be even cooler. This base is going to be very hard to defend, just because you actually have to physically run from the cap. There's like 100 unit, or 100, let's see, what is the range on this? I think it's like a 300-meter run. Again, these bases are kind of bugged. This one isn't completely done yet. 175 meters from the teleporter room to the capture point. That's insane. So this is going to be really hard to defend, just because that run is like 40 seconds. Oopsies, I'm going to die. No, I'm not. I love the bouncing property of the scythe. So, if you run a tank zerg in here and a tank zerg and an infantry zerg into this base, I think it'd be really cool. And it doesn't actually have a way to prevent you from armor zerging this base. My biggest issue is the fact that the capture point A here is so far away from the spawn room. It's ridiculous. I would put the capture point in this building, right there. That is reasonable. This is better for the attackers and the defenders, as the attackers can set up their sunderers around this cluster of buildings right here. They can set up a sunderer right there along the edge and use these buildings as cover, and then assault through the trees to the point A. So put the point A in that building or that building right there, because that distance is insane. And this is going to be a big armor fight in this base. I like armor fights. This game needs more combined arms gameplay, and this base is very good for doing combined arms gameplay. Just because the capture point over there is safe. Now, what I don't like is the fact that the spawn room is sitting out in the open when you can actually just get around behind it a little bit. No, you really can't, unless you're coming from that warp gate. If you're coming from that warp gate, you can actually just attack the spawn room directly, and that's really bad. Really, really bad that you can attack the spawn room directly. Indar has that issue, and it's awful. I don't think it'll be that big of an issue, because I think the lattice is going to swing you right here. Oh, I forgot a base. I think the lattice is going to swing you along this road, So I don't think it'll be that big of an issue, but it's still an issue that somebody will be able to do that. That is exploitable. Don't let people exploit that. I forgot a base. So this base is called Moss Ravine. It's a new Moss Ravine. This base is super cool. Really like it. So this base suffers the most. This is actually where I noticed the high ground river problem is this base, because it's like you go up a hill and there's a river. Makes no sense. So there's a bunch of little rivers. This is another base I feel is going to have a lot of combined arms gameplay, but it's going to suffer from spawn camping with tanks. So tanks can just drive into this base, but these tanks are going to drive in and they're going to be quickly taken down and killed by... See, here's another instance of where water would flow badly. So it's like you walk up here and then down a hill. Water flow doesn't flow that way. Water would flow this way and go like that. So, my immersion. So, the tanks would easily camp this base. I believe they're putting anti-vehicle turrets here, and they're putting an anti-vehicle turret over there, but they're currently bugged and I can't see them. So as you come down, there's a little bridge here, which is really nice, and then you have a tank spawn, not a normal infantry spawn, a tank spawn right there. Now, this base, I feel, has horrible, it has really bad teleporter placement, because the teleporters are too close to each other, and they don't offer enough viable surface area to repel a spawn camp. And due to the linear nature of this, the incredibly linear nature of this base, spawn camping will be very easy by armor. Very easy. If I were putting a teleporter somewhere, I would actually put the teleporter here, or somewhere up on a hill that looks down, but not enough that it is really overpowered. Like, just up here a little bit. Actually, on top of this rock. I'd put the teleporter there. That way you could stop. So vehicles are going to come in, and what they're going to do is they're going to stop at this bridge, and they're going to fire at anybody coming out of that spawn room. You're just going to sit right here on this bridge, and you're going to kill everybody out of that spawn room. So putting the teleporter up there does not give you any more viable attack paths. Like, you still have to make a decent run. Like, put it up there, or put it, like, up on a hill somewhere over here. It doesn't give you any more viable, like, attack routes, but it allows you to shoot the vehicles from a different angle that are sitting up here. So if I put cover... So if I'm sitting here as a vehicle, I'm covered from that teleporter room, but I'm not covered from the spawn room. If I'm sitting here, spawn camping, I'm covered from people coming out of the spawn room, but I'm not covered from the teleporter room. So that would be a viable alternative to this. Other than that, I really like this base. It's really beautiful. I like the rocks overhead. They make you feel really small. And I like games that make you feel really small when you're fighting, because it's going to be a really big fight. Halo does this very well. It's going to be a really big fight in here, and you feel really tiny because these rocks are just gigantic. And they're going to do a very good job stopping you from passing by rocket podders and stuff. So I really like this base. As you can see from above, here's the above. So I guess you could rocket pod this base, but it's not going to be very viable. I almost forgot this base. So, last base for part 1 of this video, this is a very long video, is Stone Ridge Reserve. Stone Ridge Reserve is a new base, technically, but it's on top of an old base. This base is interesting. I haven't really analyzed it that much. I like the wall setup here. It's very similar to the Ezimir walls, but done better, because they're not ridiculous. However, it doesn't have a lot of anti-spawn camp protection. I'm actually not going to get out of this. I might get out of the scythe, but spawn room is there, teleporter room is there, which gives a lot of reliable ways of defending. However, the capture point is here. So the capture point... Yeah, I'm going to get out my scythe. One thing I noticed, and I'm going to talk in general. Actually, I should say this for part 2. Never mind. I'll save it for part 2. So spawn room, capture point, and teleporter room was... Yeah, teleporter room is over here. So spawn room, teleporter room is right there, which gives you a lot of attack paths into this base. It gives you a lot of ways around it. This base is going to be a very, very large clusterfuck. It's a very large base, I'm noticing, with multiple ways in. One from the warp gate, and the other from the attackers. This base is really close to a warp gate, so it's actually not going to be fought over very much. But it is a cool base. It's going to be a pretty big clusterfuck. I feel like this base... SOE did a really good job making these bases very conducive to large fights. So 100 people on this base, you're going to get lost in this base with 100 people. You're going to see not the same people twice, and it's going to be, it diffuses fights out really well. My only issue is that it has one capture point on the top of the hill, so once you get on top of the hill, you can just shoot everybody coming up the hill. It's not a bad thing, it's just an issue with the base. It's a very defendable capture point. Once you get it, you got it. Because there's a path up, there's a path up. There's no path up over here, technically, but let's see them coming up. And there's one path up here. And you can just cover this entire area. No problem. There's no cover coming up these hills. So that's my only major issue with it. Other than that, it's a well-designed base. It's an okay designed base. It's very... If I were to give this base a score, I would say it's one of the most average bases on the continent. Which is not a bad thing. You gotta have average bases so the best bases stand out. But it is a very average base. There appears to be a terrain seam here. I'm gonna report that too. My only issue with this, another issue with this base is it doesn't seem, they spent a lot of time working on the inside of the base, but the area around the base is completely boring and bland. So I would like to see more interesting features outside of the base, if at all possible. So that concludes part 1. I'm going to work on I'm going to stop this video here, and I will resume part 2 at